This is a Defocus Media production. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover.
And I'm Dr. Jennifer Lyerly, resident optometry nerd.
And welcome to Defocus Media, optometry's #1 podcast, where we discuss the hottest topics, latest technology, eyewear, practice management, and more. So sit back, relax, and defocus. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover. Or I guess the real question is, am I still your favorite optometrist?
Well,
because today we have another star that's on the show with us today. If you don't mind introducing yourself, my friend.
I am Dr. Jeffrey Fardink, and I am vying for the title of your favorite optometrist. You can decide for yourself. Happy to hear in the comments.
But check it out, man. It's a pleasure to really start a new segment known as Eye Care Shenanigans. And with this segment, we just really want to have fun. We want to talk about some of the hottest topics, latest trends, things that make you really think, get those neurons firing off, but do it in a fun and tasteful manner at the same time. So get down for that. Join us, and we're going to continue this segment, and we're going to continue pumping out great things. But Jeff, man, if you don't mind, just giving a little bit of your background, man, so folks know, who their other favorite optometrist is out there in the world.
That's right. Well, I'm practicing here in Richmond, Virginia. Graduated from the Ohio State University College of Optometry. I've worked in private practice settings. Now I've got a 3-location retail associated practice, and I'm loving it. Fitting a lot of specialty contact lenses, primary care, loving optometry.
Nice. And that's why we connected, right? For those that may not know, Jeff and I, we connected on a previous podcast, and when I was listening to him, I was like, man, this guy would be a fantastic podcaster. And before you know it, we started, having conversations, and we were like, we got to do something. And, I'm super excited to partner with Jeff to really just, make an impact in the eye care industry.
Well, I'm happy to be here. I've already was secretly recording the conversations that we had and just listening to them myself. So maybe others will now get to listen to us talk too. It'll be nice.
I love it, man. So how's your holidays been so far?
It's been great. It's been great. Of course, holidays, busy season for optometry. Lots of people wanting to use their benefits before the end of the year's over, which is a present for me. I love seeing a busy office, lots of patients. How about yourself, Darryl?
Hey, man, it's been I've been on vacation for the last week and a half, and then I jumped back into my 9 to 5, and I had to travel for the business to go talk to some students. So tomorrow is really my official day in that December mix, that December rush.
Nice.
So I'm super excited. I'm well rested. I got my scrubs laid out, ready to put on my Superman cape, or your favorite optometrist cape, I should say, and make it happen. So I'm truly happy, man. I love this time of the year.
Me too.
Yeah. So let's jump into it, man. Let's talk about some topics. I'm going to shoot off a couple of topics, and I'd love to just, peel back the layers of you and your responses and what you think of it, and just have a good conversation and kind of go back and forth. That sound like a game plan to you, my man?
Let's do it. I've got opinions about everything, and some of them are even evidence-based. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Well, let's take it from the top, man. In the news lately over the last month or so, there has been some talk about optometrists at the VA.
Yeah. So as you're aware, the Veterans Health Administration here in the U.S. is one of the largest integrated healthcare systems in the country. It gives over, I think, nearly 3 million eye exams given by optometrists yearly. 1,000 optometrists employed there, 1,300 facilities. It's a gigantic healthcare system here in the U.S., and it's where a lot of optometry happens and a lot of optometric training happens. A big residency program at the VA. Yeah. And as you know, we're always pushing to expand our scope of practice to give more care to patients when they need it and where they need it. And back in 2004, so these scope of practice debates that you may be aware of, they've been going on for a long time.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it surprised me how long they've been going on. When I started working for a primary care practice here in the area, my boss brought out this issue of Review Optometry from the 1980s, where he'd written an article, and the front cover was "Should ODs do lasers?" And this was going on in the 1980s. It's been going on forever. But way back in 2004, optometrists actually were allowed to do laser procedures in VA facilities in Oklahoma, where they were licensed to do it. Only lasted for a few months before they then rescinded that decision, and ODs at the VA were no longer able to deliver therapeutic laser care. And every 5 years, they've renewed that decision and kept therapeutic laser out of the scope for optometrists at the VA.
Right.
And then finally in 2020, after a lot of lobbying, they removed the wording that banned it. It still wasn't approved to do therapeutic laser, but it was no longer explicitly banned. And then in 2020, there's this big push now to get a unified scope of practice for the whole VA system. It hasn't happened yet, but an early part of that is that now the VA has finally allowed optometry to practice to its full scope in various states. So here in Virginia, where lasers are part of the optometric scope of practice now, practitioners at the VA, optometrists, are able to do laser procedures now, which is very exciting. So only in the states, I think there's 10 states now that have therapeutic laser. So only in those states are VA ODs able to deliver that service, but it's exciting that they can now practice to their full scope.
Yeah, I love it. And I think that's a big deal, right? Like I said earlier, I had the opportunity to talk to students. And the one thing that I always talk to students about is that we are a legislative profession, right? And we got to continue to expand our scope, and we got to protect our current rights. And the only way we can truly do that is by showing up. And when I say show up, I'm talking about, dropping that bag of money, right? You got to be able to support, but you also got to be able to put your voice out there, stand on the front line, go to your legislators. You got to make sure that you're a leader, not just in that exam lane, but outside of that exam lane. Every legislator in your community should know who you are, right? And we got to make sure that we team up with the right people out there to really push, this profession forward. Something that I was blown away by, and I guess I should have known this already, with this article, is that there is an Armed Forces Optometric Society.
Yeah, right.
We should know more about this. I
know. I had no idea either.
And it's one of those things where we should all partner together. All the society should come together and just sit at a table, have a conversation, and just really build. We can't just have our AOA bucket or hat on, and our ASCO hat on, and our academy cap on, and then every local level and other organizations. We all need to sit at a table and have a conversation and talk about how we can push this profession forward. And I love what the VA is doing. And I think we need to take a book out of their page to really get on the same wavelength as them as well.
Yeah, I agree. And it's so important for the trickle-down effect that can happen to the rest of American scope of practice here too. And this whole push started, the whole push that got laser approved at the VA started because as they were pushing to unify the optometric scope of practice throughout the entire 50-state VA system, the initial thought from some of the people in charge was to make it aligned to the most restrictive state, which would basically take away oral medications, take away drops, I think. So, I'm glad it went this way instead of that direction.
Look, I saw that. It almost fell out my chair, man.
Right. I know.
At all, right?
Yeah.
So, it's very important to read the fine language, and it's very important to make sure you have the right people reading that fine language. And that's the perks of having a team behind you like the AOA or the Armed Forces Optometric Society, and just really teaming up and collaborating as well. Another organization that does a great job with really pushing the narrative of optometry and pushing for more eye exams is the Vision Council.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know all the work that they do. They do a tremendous amount of work out there with really gathering data for optometrists. That way they can figure out, where they should spend their money. They also do a great job with putting optometrists in the limelight on news stations to be able to talk about various conditions, especially like maybe example, National Sunglasses Day. They'll get all these doctors to go out to these different media outlets and have them educate about the importance of protecting the eyes from UV damage. We got so many resources out there, but again, we just got to come together and serve as one to really, push our profession forward if we want to see a change and protect our rights and expand our scope.
I agree. I'm happy we're here talking about it. When I was a student, I think if there's any area that some of my colleagues maybe could be trying harder on, it's just I don't think a lot of us know how many resources are out there. It's easy to get kind of, caught off guard about this. Like you said about the Armed Forces Optometric Society. I didn't know that existed either. So I'm happy we can be here to help try to inform the youngins.
There you go, man. We're changing the game, that's for sure. So let's talk about the next topic, man. This one really blew my mind, and I love the website that you sent over, man. It's a topic known as "Look at the Lids." If you don't mind, maybe breaking that down, because I know people are thinking, "Look at the lids." What does that mean?
Sure. So I want to give a big thank you to the Review of Optometry. I was perusing that magazine, and I read a lot of great articles in there, and there are a lot of great ads in there, advertisements that probably wouldn't see in most publications because they're targeted at us, at eye care providers. And there was an ad in there for this website, lookatthelids.com. And I just thought it was so well put together for the tiny demographic of eye care providers that it's shooting at. Just a great look into one of my favorite little friends, Demodex. There's just some great stuff on this website, great animations and graphics talking about Demodex. It's a great educational opportunity. You know, Demodex, the little mites that live in our eyelash beds it's extremely common. There are, as the website says here, 25 million eye care patients in the US that have Demodex blepharitis. Demodex really is one of these organisms that shares the space with us that isn't necessarily always causing a problem. A lot of folks that have Demodex don't really have any symptoms for it. Yeah. So it's not something that I'm sure to like shout at every patient, hey, you got these little mites I can see in your eyelashes there. But sometimes they get a little bit too excited throwing a party in there and cause a lot of problems, even keratitises. So it's great to have another educational tool here to look at with patients to hopefully educate them in a less terrifying manner about what's going on.
Next time I see one of these, I'm gonna tell my patient, you know what, you got some mites, some bugs on there moonwalking on your lid, my friend. Yeah. So we can do something about it. I love this website, man, because it's very clean. It's fun. It's exciting. It brings a different dynamic to Demodex, right? Demodex blepharitis. And I was looking at the company behind it, Taurus Pharmaceuticals, and I know this company, one of the executives is Arthur Chan, and I've seen him all over LinkedIn doing a fantastic job with really, bringing Demodex to the forefront to eye care professionals because they know about it, but a lot of people don't really talk about it or really do something about it when they see it on the lids. They just continue to try to use the same tools and mechanisms to get rid of it, and that's not doing the job. You got to make sure you have the right medication whenever you're doing it. Something else that I love about this website, man, is you can actually submit pictures, right?
Really?
Yeah, you can submit pictures. Oh, man. Go check it out, and you go to the area where there's ODs. You can actually submit images of what you take in your practice. So it's like a good database of photos that, when you're talking to patients, you can actually pull it up and say, hey, there's that Demodex moonwalking right there, or doing the Macarena. We got to make sure we can do a better job, my friend. You know what I'm saying? So,
absolutely.
Those guys did a fantastic job.
They did. Really, I'm going to have to make a new waiver for my patients to fill out so I can submit their pictures to this website.
There you go.
I can make you famous with these eyelids here.
Shout out to Alicia for giving us some love. Happy Monday to you as well. For those that are listening on the audio version of this, we are live on LinkedIn, live on YouTube, live on Facebook, and it's going down. I'm with Dr. Jeff, and we're having a fantastic time, great time, and we're just talking shop, but doing it in a fun way. So if you're out there, tell us where you represent, where you're from, and we'll definitely give you a shout out as well.
Yeah, there are times when I really feel lonely, and it's nice to know I've got lots of Demodex friends to keep me company all the time. So it's good to have the reminder here with this website.
Hey man, while we're talking about this, let me ask you this: how do you have that communication with the patients when you see these live little creatures just having a good time, partying, like you mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
Like what communication?
Now I'm going to do it via this website because this presents it in such an entertaining and calming way, because usually the conversation gets scary because you bring up pictures and like, oh my God, I've got these little bugs on my eyelashes. I try to introduce it in a way that's not going to scare the patient too much, talking about how there's all sorts of organisms that live all over us. There's more single cell organisms in my body than there are just cells in my body, So I try to introduce it in ways like that and just reiterate that it's normal. And sometimes those normal little friends get a little bit too aggressive, and that's when they require treatment. But an important thing too, I'd recommend to any students out there is sometimes you'll be having this conversation and you see that you're really losing your patient because they do not want to know this material. So
they don't,
if you don't want to educate all the way, as long as you're getting the important points across, that's okay. Some folks want to hear it and need to hear it. Other folks, you're gonna lose them by telling them the full story, so you can back it off a little bit.
And I love that. I think that's something that, and I think that's something that all ODs, students, seasoned ODs, new graduates need to realize is that you need to be able to understand that patient that's sitting in front of you. You need to be able to speak the same language that they speak. You may have some folks that want that real high level. You may have those patients that want to get into the weeds of things, but it's your job to figure out how to communicate with them. That way you can have the best health outcomes. But you have to understand the patients that's in front of you. Every patient that walks through your door, learn about them, learn from them, because these patients all come in themes. They have similar ways of doing things, and you'll know how to approach each one. But first, listen and learn and have conversation and communicate with them as well.
That's exactly right. Communication's the best tool in my toolbox. It's true.
There you go, my friend. Let's talk about the next one, man. Quantify it or qualify it.
Yeah, we're getting more dry eye talk. More hot, exciting dry eye talk.
Okay, talk to me.
Yeah, so this was an interesting article I came across here in the Journal of the American Medical Association, Ophthalmology, talking about just a big retrospective study about dry eye studies that have been out. So since 2010, there have been 13 large studies of into dry eye that they found going through two big research databases, Ovid, Medline, and Embase. And looking through these databases and reading these articles, these reviews, they were surprised to really find how poorly dry eye seems to be defined. You know, we have consensus definitions about what is age-related macular degeneration, what is glaucoma. We have consensus definitions that help us guide treatment, and dry eye doesn't really have that. And so the biggest takeaway from this article was just how different these numbers are and how much it would benefit our treatment if we could all agree on what exactly we're treating.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, that may help, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes they were going off of, ICD-10 diagnoses, and other times they were feeding off just patient symptoms. This patient says their eyes feel dry, so that's dry eye. So yeah, it would be good to have a more standardized definition. Absolutely.
And what's so crazy is, dry eye has been around for so long. But to your point, when you look at macular degeneration and other ocular disease or issues, they all are able to, have that full picture. But with dry eye, for some reason, it's just wide open. It's like the wild, wild west.
It is, and it's so prevalent too. So many patients have it, and it's crazy too. When I was a new provider, I would see patients all day long. Their eyes look dry as the Sahara, and they've got no complaints. And then I've got other patients, their eyes look fine, and they're almost crying. They would cry if they could cry, right?
Right.
Another thing
it's crazy, man. I always tell everyone that comes into my office, all my new docs, or if there's a student, extern, whoever it may be, or I'm talking to students, that everyone has dry eye. Yeah. Everyone that walks to my office has dry eye. I don't care what anyone says. They do, because everyone is doing something where they're looking at something, right? Naturally, that's going to dry you out. Whether it's a student, whether it's someone working, whether it's someone that's seasoned, everyone has dry eyes. So my office, my patients get a lecture always about two things. Number one, dry eyes. Number two, they need glasses, and they need glasses to accommodate their lifestyle. Computer glasses, regular glasses, progressive, single vision, whatever it may be, and sunglasses. You need to make sure that you're protecting yourself on all ends. So I cover both sides, right? So I love this, and thanks for bringing that up. And hopefully the dry eye gods out there will figure something out, put this together. That way we can make the magic happen. But this is fantastic.
One of the more interesting tidbits here that I pulled out, or that I saw in this, was that the prevalence of dry eye, they're estimating it somewhere around 8% of the U.S. population. But my MGD, my Boehmian gland dysfunction, they estimate to be around 20%, which really was very strange to me that it was that prevalent and that much more prevalent than just dry eyes in general. So I guess, here's the thing. I don't even know the definition of my Boehmian gland dysfunction, apparently, because that implies that you can have it and not have dry eyes. So
yeah, that's something new, right? Yeah. Or maybe it's a glitch in the matrix. I don't know.
Right, exactly.
Figure that out, right? But very nice article, very lengthy article. That article is the prevalence and incidence of dry eye and meibomian gland dysfunction in the United States, a systematic review and meta-analysis. So check that out. It was released on October 27th, but a lot of great information that's there. Before we jump to the next topic, man, I definitely want to give a shout out to one of our colleagues that have really done a fantastic job with just innovating eye care, and that's Dr. Fayez Magoob. He has done some incredible things in the specialty contact lens arena with creating different devices to insert scleral contact lenses and also created different adapters to be able to take pictures of demodex, blepharitis, and dry eyes. So, perfect timing, Dr. Fayez, for chiming in. Again, if you're listening to this on audio, check out the video on YouTube or go to defocusmediagroup.com. You can see everything in person, or excuse me, on video in regards in addition to the audio. But yeah, man, let's see what we have up next here. What does your lamina cribosa have to do with it?
Yeah, it's welcome to my edition of Cribs here, talking about the lamina cribosa. Right? So it was there's a big retrospective study. I'm trying to find the title of it here because it was an interesting one. So the takeaway that I got from this was that keratoconus patients, obviously they've got a corneal shape that is irregular, abnormal, but that's not the only part of the eye apparently where keratoconus patients have some structural morphological differences. The study showed that keratoconus patients on average tend to have more lamina cribosa bowing posteriorly. The lamina cribosa is bowing backward more. And they also tend to have more peripapillary atrophy around the optic disc. And the vascular plexus around the optic disc is also less robust in keratoconus patients, apparently. So it's interesting to see all these different manifestations in the eye of keratoconus, which, I've noticed in my career with keratoconus patients, I fit a lot of scleral lenses, that keratoconus patients in general tend to have, other manifestations of different parts of the body too, like floppy eyelid syndrome, or they seem to be more likely to have sleep apnea. And I've always wondered, is there more going on than just the cornea? Are there other parts of the body where the connective tissue maybe is less robust than it could be? And it's interesting to see some data coming out on that. So it's keratoconus, I feel like, is something that we really don't diagnose. I think it's underdiagnosed because oftentimes patients don't really have the symptoms of it,
Yeah, so, absolutely. I mean,
I learn more about it.
I agree with you 100%. And I'm blown away, whenever I diagnose it, a patient is, so old and like, I've never heard of that term before.
Right.
And I'm like, how do you not know what this means? You've been living with this for who knows how long, my friend, So, that is a call out to all our eye care professionals out there. Let's step our game up when we're looking at that cornea. If a patient has keratoconus, and you don't fit a specialty lens or want to deal with just a rigid gas perm lens, refer to another optometrist. Don't leave that patient stranded with just a soft lens. Give them the true solution that's going to make their life better and help them see clearer and sharper as well. There's tons of ODs out there that want to take that patient off your hands. And at the end of the day, we are a profession, a family, and we have to work together. Not one person can do every single thing. You're not great at everything. I hate to tell you. Pass it to the
I'm great at very few things, Darryl.
Well, if you ask my wife, I'm great at nothing. It's causing a lot of trouble and shenanigans if you ask her.
Well, it's entertaining anyway. Yeah, talking about optometry, strengthening, referring. We've done a great job of referring to MDs. It's time we do a better job referring to other ODs. And I think it's a great opportunity to do that. I tell patients frequently that as a healthcare provider, we can educate, medicate, or operate. It's kind of the three eights. I love to eat, so those are the 3 8s that we got. So oftentimes, I'll get the patient in their mid-30s who probably has form fruste keratoconus, very minor keratoconus. They're 20/25 minus in the phoropter. And if you talk to them, they've had these symptoms for years where they're driving at night, getting weird higher order aberrations, halos. And maybe this patient doesn't even need a scleral lens. Maybe they're happy being 20/25 in their glasses, but they feel like they're crazy because they don't understand why no one's talked to them about this. So if you take the time to educate them, that can be so impactful for those patients, even if they don't get a scleral from you or from another colleague.
Education is king. It's no doubt about it. And just being to sit down and listen again to the patients of what they have to say. A lot of times a patient, you can know everything that you need to find the right solution if you just take a couple minutes to 5 minutes to listen to the patient.
Absolutely.
All the major buzzwords are going to come out within that first couple of minutes if you truly are listening and not running your mouth. Let me ask you something, Jeff. Do you have externs or residents that hang out with you throughout the day? Because I just feel like you'll be a fantastic educator to just push the profession forward. I would love to just sit in and just listen.
Well, thank you. I think I might have scared some away. No, in a previous practice where I worked, there was a 4th year extern there, and I loved working with the extra, and eventually I ended up working with him as a doctor, as a colleague in the practice where I was.
Oh, nice.
I'm not involved in any externships now, but I do oftentimes mentor students who are going into optometry and get them their internship hours or their observation hours. So
nice.
I'm always looking for more though.
Hey, well, that's a call out. If anyone needs one, tell them where you practice at, man. That way they can know where to send them.
I'm right here in Richmond, Virginia, and happy to help you all out.
All right, I love it. Well, let's close it out, man. We got one last one here, my friend. What's your hemoglobin A1C, baby?
Yeah, we'll end it with a quick one here. A nice sweet topic. So, of course, finding diabetic retinopathy in our diabetics is so important, educating them about it. And it would be helpful if there were kind of a cutoff number of hemoglobin A1C that really got us up to think, hey, maybe I got to look really closely at this. And there was a big study. They reviewed about 200 diabetic patients, and they determined that at the hemoglobin A1C value of 8.15, for whatever reason, above that, patients are much more likely to present with diabetic retinopathy than under it. There's a 30% likelihood at that number. So people who are smarter than me for reasons that are beyond my understanding have come up with that number, 8.15. So it's interesting and very helpful to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the magic number. So I got a question for you and a challenge for you.
Yes, sir. Okay.
All right. We're all made differently, and I saw that this sample was from folks from Iran. What does that look like from different backgrounds? Maybe someone that may be African American, Black,
yeah, definitely,
someone that's Hispanic. I mean, I feel like we should do more research and more digging just to see, what it is for all backgrounds, because it could be completely different, right?
Absolutely.
And dictate how our endocrinologist partners and our retina specialists really manage these patients when they come in. And some may not be at a high alert, depending on, what that true hemoglobin A1C that actually impacts that background or that culture, just some food for thought.
No, you're right. I mean, it's a big problem in pharmaceutical research. A lot of the gut microbiomes in Americans and say people in Asia and China are very different, which is not surprising given different cultures. And a lot of pharmaceutical research done in Asia, they bring the drugs to the U.S. and don't find the same impact, and it's because of the gut microbiota and other things. So exactly, it's important to take into account the culture and the patient base as well.
I love it. So what do you got going on for the rest of the week, my friend?
I am just trying to keep my head above water in the busy December time here. I got lots of patients I'm seeing, and I'm looking forward to it. Got 3 offices to drive around between. So,
gotcha. And how's that beautiful family doing? I know you and I both kind of went through some health problems in our household.
Oh man,
all types of stuff going around here.
Yeah, this flu epidemic in the U.S. right now is crazy. Make sure to get your flu shot. Healthcare providers, we are 6 inches away from these patients all day long. For your safety and ours, we gotta, and your safety and theirs. We gotta get our flu shots. But they're doing better now. How about your family?
We're doing better, man. Everyone's doing well. My son's kind of bouncing back and forth, but overall, we're doing better. So I'm thankful about that, and I hope we can go into the rest of the holiday season healthy and vibrant, and just being able to spend some quality time with each other. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, great. Well, everyone that's listened to us, I appreciate you guys sticking with us throughout this. Hopefully no one's falling asleep listening to me. I'm good.
Well, thanks again, man. And again, this is Eye Care Shenanigans, where it goes down. We talk about the hottest topics, latest trends, real conversations, authentic conversations, and it's with the 2 favorite optometrists, Dr. Darryl and Dr.
Jeffrey Fardink, your most favorite optometrist.
So until next time, you guys stay healthy, positive, and blessed, and we're going to do this again. Enjoy December. Make sure you make an impact. Service all those patients, and remember, keep patients first, and the profits will follow. Until next time, continue having shenanigans. Peace.
Have a good one.
All right, colleagues, and it's a wrap. Thank you dearly for hanging out with the Defocus Media team. We hope truly something resonated with you. And if it did, be sure to give us 5 stars. And make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, you named it. And our handle is at Defocus Media on all platforms. And until next time, be sure to keep it 2020